All right, guys, let's talk our way through this bell work. So the first thing I'm supposed to do is isolate or get that absolute value alone. So that means the 1/2 and the -6, the -6 there, we got to get rid of. Which piece do I get rid of first?
The -6.
-6, -6. So how do I get rid of that? Add it to both sides. All right. So that would give me 1/2 and then absolute value of 3x plus 4 is less than 9. You guys told me a couple minutes ago that 1/2 means division anytime we see a fraction. We're going to use multiplication to undo that. What are we going to multiply by? 2. It's always by whatever's on the bottom. So if I multiply by 2 and I divide by 2, that cancels out. I'm left with 1 times the absolute value of 3x plus 4. So that's just absolute value of 3x plus 4. Yep, is less than 18. At this point right here, I always do a small little sketch for myself, even when I'm just doing these problems for me. Because I need to know how to set this problem up. If you remember, on Wednesday, we saw 2 different ways of setting these up, and I need to know which way this could be. So if I'm 18 units away from 0, where could I be standing? -18 or positive 18. Would I be using open circles or closed here? Open. Why?
Because if it's
Absolutely correct. If we don't have the or equal to line, we just leave it as an open circle. If it has the or equal to, we fill it in, and that's when we use the brackets in our interval notation. All right. Tell me about this inequality here. How do we read this inequality? Less than. So when I'm thinking about distance away from 0, I want to take less than 18 steps away from 0. And as long as I take less than 18 steps, I'm happy with where I'm standing. So I'm going to look at all the different places on this number line, and you tell me whether that would work or not. Could I be over here? Why not? That's more than 18 steps away from 0. Could I be here? Yes. That is less than 18 steps away from 0. So I'm going to shade the places where I could be. Anywhere in there. You guys agree that's less than 18 steps? Could I be here? Yeah. Still less than 18 steps away, just if I'm moving to the other direction, to the left side. Could I be here?
No.
Why not? More than 18 steps away from 0. Absolutely correct. So I've got it shaded in between the positive 18 and the negative 18. So negative 18 is here, positive 18 is here. The things that we have shaded, that's where my absolute value lives. So this is where I put the 3x plus 4. Alligator eats the bigger thing, right? Is the negative 18 the biggest thing? No. 18 is the biggest thing. So if the alligator started eating things, he doesn't want to eat the smallest thing. He's going to start at the negative 18, but he's not going to eat that one. He's going to eat all the stuff in the middle. That's why I have a less than right there facing the 3x plus 4. And then he's going to eat all the way until he gets to the 18. This is a compound inequality, a double inequality. I solve this just like I solve regular inequalities or equations, except instead of if you do it to one side, do it to the other. We've got 2 other sides to do things to. I need to get the x all by itself. So yes, we're going to subtract 4. So I'm going to do it here and on both of the other sides of these fences. So I've got negative 22 here. I have 3x in the middle, and I have 14 over here. I'm going to bring down my less than signs. When do I have to worry about flipping those signs the other way? Yes, if we multiply or divide by a negative number, which means if the thing on the bottom of my fraction is a negative. Do I need to do any division here?
Oh, yes, because it's 3 times.
3 times x. So I'm going to need to divide by what? 3. Do it to the other sides of the fence as well.
Well, that would say negative 22 over 3, right?
That's going to stay negative 22 over 3 because that's not going to come out to be a whole number. And because 3 is prime, I know it's already reduced. Then I have an x here. Can I reduce 14 over 3 at all? Nope. So I'm just going to leave it as 14 over 3. I do want to go and graph that. Which one of those numbers is smaller, the negative 22 over 3 or the 14 over 3?
14 over 3.
Is smaller than negative 22 over 3?
Oh, no, negative 22 over 3.
Negative 20, because it's a negative number, I know it would be further to the left on my number line. So I just need to put it somewhere on the left side of my number line. We don't have to be super precise about its location here. It just needs to be on the left side. 14 over 3 is going to be somewhere on the right side. Would I have open circles or closed circles?
Open.
Open. Why?
Because it's less than, or it doesn't have a little line under it.
That's absolutely correct.
And then it has a little U under it.
Where are we going to shade? Because I need to know that before I can answer the question about the U.
The 0.
Where is the X? In the middle. So where am I going to shade this one? In the middle, because the things that I shade are all the things that X could be. If I shade like this, I don't need a union. I need a union when there's a gap. Things that aren't shaded in between two things that are shaded. I want to write this using interval notation, so I always write the smallest place where I have any shading first. Where do we start our shading at on the left?
22. Negative 22.
Negative 22 over 3. And because it has an open circle there, do I use a parenthesis or do I use one of those square brackets?
No.
Parenthesis. If we fill it in, if it has the or equal to, that's when we use a square bracket. Here I'm going to use a parenthesis because it's not filled in. We shade from there all the way up to what? 14 over 3. Parenthesis or bracket here? Parenthesis, because we have an open circle again. All right, down at the bottom, number 2, writing these in interval notation. X is greater than 4. I know that that would look like this, right? Where does my shading start if I'm moving from the left to the right?
Negative 22 over 3.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I'm down here on part A for number 2.
4.
Starts at 4. Would I have a parenthesis or a bracket around the 4? Why is it a parenthesis?
Oh,
So it's an open circle. We don't have the or equal to here. So I'd have a parenthesis. What's the biggest thing that's shaded in? Infinity, because it goes forever and ever and ever off to the right. I can't get to the biggest thing because it keeps going. So do I use a parenthesis or a bracket here? Parenthesis. Since I can't ever get to infinity, I can't use a bracket. I'm only allowed to use brackets if it has a filled in dot on it. For part B,
You start on far before the 0, after the 0, over the, before the 0.
it's going to go this way because it's a less than, right? So it's shaded to the left side. I always start off in my interval notation describing the smallest thing that's shaded in, the thing farthest to the left. Infinity. Negative infinity, because it's off to the left in the negative direction. And it's in parentheses. It's going to go up until where?
Oh, 2.
-2. Parenthesis or bracket here? Parenthesis. All right, we got one more to look at here. What's this going to look like?
This is not
Bracket.
1.
Bracket at 1, yep. Up until where? How far over does it go? To 10. Open or close circle when we get to 10? Open circle, because it doesn't have the or equal to with it, right? It doesn't have that little line under it. So does that mean a parenthesis or a bracket? Parenthesis. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I want you guys to flip forward in your books to page 183. We're going to keep practicing with solving these absolute value inequalities. On Wednesday, we did 2 practice problems. We just did another one on the bell work. We're going to do 3 more together, and then we'll call it a week. We had talked about steps on Wednesday. Very first thing I always want to do when I'm solving these is to isolate my absolute value. And then I will set up my positive and negative. So I'm going to have to draw a quick number line so that I know which way to set this up. Is my absolute value isolated? Yes. Everything over on the left is inside of those bars. This is isolated already for me. If I can spell. Isolated already. Makes me happy because that's less work. So now I need to figure out how to set up my positives and negatives. This is where I draw a real quick number line so that I make sure I'm setting it up the right way. When I go to do your tests, when I go to grade your tests next Thursday, I'm going to be looking for this on the inequality problems. Yes, ma'am?
After this, can I please the bad boy?
Yes, absolutely. It says my absolute value is greater than or equal to 8. So where could I be on the number line and be 8 units away? -8 or +8. Would we have filled in circles or open circles here? Filled in. So we're going to use brackets in our interval notation. You're absolutely correct. I'm going to scoot this over a little bit. Here we go. All right, so here or here. On the bell work, we shaded in between. On Wednesday, sometimes we shaded in between, and sometimes we shaded in opposite directions. So this is why I do this sketch. Yeah. This symbol is what here? Greater than. This is a greater than or equal to. Greater than means more than, bigger than. So I want to take more than 8 steps away from 0 now. So I'm trying to think about where I could be on the number line where that's true. I'm going to go through the same 4 spots like we did on the bell work. If I want to be greater than, more than 8 units away from 0, could I be over here?
Yes.
Yes.
Also,
So since I could be here, it's looking like that. If I want to be more than 8 steps away from 0, could I be here? No, not enough steps, right? What about if I turn and face the other way and I start walking to the left? Could I be here?
No.
Why not? Not more than 8 steps away from 0. It's not far enough. What about over here?
Yes.
Yes, that would take me more than 8 steps to get to. So I could be over here. This changes the way I'm going to set up my problem. Yes, we're going to have a union here. We've got this gap. We write that as a capital U. Because of that gap, I can't just write a compound inequality. I have to write two separate inequalities. So let's write down what those would be. Anywhere it's shaded is where my absolute value could live. So this spot right here, I'm actually going to do this in purple. Negative 3x plus 10 could live right there. And that's over there by this negative 8. If it is shaded off to the left, like this, what kind of a symbol do I use for that? Do I use a greater than or a less than if it's shaded to the left? Less than. This is going to be a less than or equal to here, even though my original problem had a greater than. It's because that's what gets me more than 8 steps away from 0. Is it shaded anywhere else?
Yes.
Yes. So over here is also where negative 3x plus 10 could live. We've got a union in between these two things. Is this one shaded to the left? Shaded to the right. What inequality do I use when we're shading to the right? That's a greater than. So greater than or equal to 8 here. Whenever I have my absolute value isolated and it's a greater than, we're going to have two separate inequalities because it's pointing two different ways. One with a greater than, one with a less than. No matter which one of these I start with to solve, what do I need to do first to get the x by itself? We're going to subtract 10. Yes. We got our absolute value isolated. Now we're working on isolating x. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. What is negative 8 minus 10? Negative 18. What else do I need to do? Do the same thing on the other side. I like that too. And then Muhammad, I heard you say something else, and I liked that answer also. So negative 3x is greater than or equal to negative 2. What do I need to do on both of these still? Divide by negative 3. It is going to switch. Anytime we divide by a negative, if the bottom of my fraction is a negative, so we're going to have x and a positive 6, and this is going to flip because we divided by a negative. Means we flip the inequality. Same thing happens over here. So I have x is less than or equal to 2/3. Again, inequality flipped because we divided by a negative. And I'm going to have a union in between those. So now I need to take this and I need to graph it. Which one of these numbers is smaller, 6 or 2/3?
2/3.
2/3 is smaller. So it goes farther to the left or farther to the right? Farther to the left. What kind of an inequality do I have here? Less than or equal to. So do I fill in my dot or not? Yes, fill it in. And then I'm going to shade which way? Left. 6 is going to go further to the right. It's a filled in dot also because it still has the or equal to. Which way do I shade this one? Right. To the right because it's a greater than. I want numbers that are bigger than. All right, help me out with my interval notation now.
6, 2/3.
Close. Close. I want to write down my interval for what I have shaded. What is the farthest thing to the left, the smallest thing that's shaded? Negative infinity, because it's shaded off to the left, right? Parenthesis, because I can never get to negative infinity. And it's shaded all the way to the left until I get to what? Until I get to 2/3. Bracket because it's a closed circle. And then there's a gap.
So
U for union.
and then bracket 6.
Bracket 6, because that's where we start shading again. The union tells me that I've got a space that's not shaded.
Infinity.
And then infinity. Yes. And a parenthesis. Absolutely correct. Nice work. Guys, you guys are doing great with this. This is a very difficult concept, so I'm really, really proud of you right now. Let's look at another example. Let's go look at, I want to make sure everybody's got this written down. Yes. Give me just a second and then yes. All right, let's go do number 6. So very next problem. Is my absolute value isolated?
Yes.
Yes. So now I need to decide how to set this up. Is it going to be like the bell work problem that we did? Or is it going to be like number 5?
Wait.
Well, let's look at our number line. Sketch yourself a quick number line. So 0 is right here. How far away from 0 are we looking at? 14. So negative 14 or positive 14. This is the part that I want to make sure to see when I grade this inequality problem on your test.
It would be an open circle because it's left facing.
Yes, open circles, because we don't have that or equal to, it's just a less than. Here's the thing that you have to think through. Where could we be on this number line to be less than 14 units away from 0?
After negative 14.
So less than. Could I be right here and be less than 14 steps away from 0?
No.
No. Could I be here?
Yes.
That is less than 14 steps from 0. Could I be here?
Yes.
Yes, that is also less than 14 steps away from 0. Could I be here?
No.
No. Why?
Because it's
So
more
it's
than 14.
more than.
Yeah. If I start at 0 and I start walking off to the left, if I'm over there where the arrow is, that's too far. It took me more than 14 steps to get there. Do I need a union on this one? No, because it's shaded in between. That means I'm not going to have 2 inequalities. Only one. Negative 14 is the smallest. Positive 14 is the biggest. In between here is where my absolute value, 2x plus 4, lives in here.
So now we have to do minus 4 from 2x
Mhm.
plus 4.
Help me set up my inequalities. Would the alligator eat the negative 14? No, that's not the biggest thing, right? He's going to eat this direction. So I need a less than right here. Would the alligator eat the 14? Yes. So I need another less than like this. Alligator eats the biggest thing. I'm going to need 2 fences. What are we going to do to get the x by itself?
Subtract 4 from all the sides.
Subtract 4 from all the sides. What is negative 14 minus 4?
Negative 18.
Negative 18. Do I need to flip my inequality around? Nope. We didn't do any dividing by a negative. What's 14 minus 4?
10.
10. What else do I need to do here?
Divide.
By?
2.
Do we need to flip our inequalities this time?
Yes.
I heard yes and no. How do we decide?
If we're dividing.
If we're dividing by a negative, so if the bottom of the fraction is a negative number, then we flip it.
No.
No. Negative 18 is there, but I don't flip it because that's on the top, not the bottom. So I have negative 9 is less than x, because this cancels, is less than what, Savion? 5. Beautiful. When I get to my number line, which of those numbers is going to go farthest to the right? 5, because it's the bigger thing. Negative 9 needs to be farther to the left. You don't have to count each little tick mark. I'm just looking for, do you know basically where these are? Open or closed circles here? Open, because we don't have that or equal to underneath it. Where am I shading? All in the middle. Because I shade the things that x could be, and because x is in between those two, I shade in between. So I heard negative 9 and 5. Parentheses or brackets? Parentheses. Let's do one last problem, and we'll call it a week. Does that sound good? Awesome. We are going to go and look at this one. It's not isolated. What's the first thing that I would need to do? Subtract 3 on both sides. So that would give me 8, and then absolute value of 7x plus 5 is less than what? 40. Then we divide by 8 on both sides. Very nice.
So, what's the absolute 7x plus 5 and then less than 5?
Yes. Absolute value of 7x plus 5 is less than 5. Here's where I want to see your number line sketch. You still have the absolute value. We have it isolated. 5 and negative 5. Would we have open circles or closed circles? Open. And here's where I want to see. I should see some eraser marks or some thoughts or some pencil dots that you thought through all the different places where you could be on that number line. Could we be here? Why or why not? That is more than 5 units away from 0. Too far. I need to be less than. What about here? Yes, that would be okay. What about here? Yes. What about here? Too far. When I have a less than, after I've gotten my absolute value isolated, we're going to see it shaded in between. If I have a greater than, I know I'm going to walk really far to the left or really far to the right. That's when we're going to have a union. So negative 5 is the smallest. Positive 5 is the biggest. In between here is where 7x plus 5 lives. What do my inequalities look like? What do I need in between the negative 5 and the 7x plus 5? A less than. Because alligator's not going to eat the negative 5, right? What about in between the 7x plus 5 and the 5? Like this? No. Alligator eats the biggest thing. 5 is the biggest thing. So I have a compound inequality. Subtract 5 from each side. I'm going to scoot this up just a little bit. So I have negative 10 over on the left. What do we have on the right? 0. And that is perfectly okay. It does not mean we did something wrong. So negative 10 here, 7x here, 0 here. Still have my less thans because I didn't flip anything. We didn't multiply or divide.
Divide by 7.
Divide every side by 7 now.
That stays a fraction.
Stays a fraction. Why?
Because 7 doesn't go into negative 10 even way.
Absolutely correct. 7 doesn't go into negative 10. 7's prime, so I can't reduce it at all. We have x here, 0, yeah, because if I have nothing and I split it into 7 equal-sized pieces and I pass it out, we all get nothing. So there we go. How do I put this on the number line? Tell me what goes first on the left, what goes last on the right.
You're gonna mark 10, -7 all the way to the left.
Negative 10 over 7, somewhere on the left side, yep. What else do I need?
0.
0, somewhere farther to the right, because 0 is bigger than that. It's further to the right on the number line. Open or close circles here? Open. Why?
Because there's no line under the greater or less than.
Absolutely correct. There's no little line underneath the greater than or less than.
It's not blue, so no brackets.
No brackets. We're going to have parentheses. Where do I shade this?
In the middle.
In the middle. X is in the middle, and I shade the things that X could be. What does my interval notation look like?
Parentheses, -10, 7, and then 0.
And another parenthesis to close it. Notice that when I'm setting up this original little number line here, my final answer has the same basic shading. That's why you need to take the time to do it. Not only does it help you set this part up right, but it tells you what this is going to look like. You're just going to need to fill in the numbers there. Okay? That's the last problem we're going to do in your notes about this. This is the wrong thing, and I don't quite know how this happened. You guys already had your virtual day assignment. Homework number 6 is what I need you guys to work on over the weekend. It is the very last homework assignment for this whole unit. It's going to be due on Monday. I do not see you guys next Wednesday, but your test is next Thursday. PSAT is next Wednesday. So I see you guys on Monday. We're going to review together on Tuesday. I'm going to give you this paper review right now. Even though homework 6 is due on Monday, I want to make sure you have this in your hands. Because Tuesday is the only day that I'll see you in person to review, and I can answer questions off this. Monday I'll see you as well. We're going to talk about some stuff, and you guys will have some time to work on this too. Okay? So homework's due on Monday. Paper packet is coming out right now that is your review for the test. There is a Canvas review as well. That one is going to be really useful on Monday because it's all automatic. Sorry, not on Monday, on Wednesday. Let me get my days of the week right. It's all automatically graded.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So on Wednesday, before I see you guys, on Thursday, I want to make sure that you've worked through that one because it's automatically graded so you would know whether or not you are doing those problems correctly. Oh, do you want it? Please make sure to get a hold of me over the weekend if you guys have any questions or you get stuck on anything. Like I said, homework 6 is the last homework of this unit. Please make sure any of those other homeworks that you haven't done, get in and practice with those. It's going to be super important because, again, I don't see you guys next Wednesday. All right?